Chapter 8. The entire heaven as one whole resembles one man. That heaven in its whole complex resembles one man is an arcanum not yet known in the world, but it is very well known in the heavens. To know this, and the specific and particular things relating to it, is the chief thing in the intelligence of the angels there. Indeed, on it many things depend which, without it as their general principle, would not enter distinctly and clearly into the ideas of the angels' minds. Since they know that all the heavens with their societies resemble one man, they therefore call heaven the grand and divine man. Divine because it is the divine of the Lord that makes heaven. Those who have not a right idea of spiritual and celestial things cannot perceive that celestial and spiritual things are arranged and conjoined into such a form and image. They think that the earthly and material things of which a man's ultimate part is composed make the man, and that apart from these, the man is not a man. But they should know that it is not from these that the man is a man, but from his ability to understand what is true and to will what is good. Such understanding and willing are the spiritual and celestial things that make a man. Moreover, it is acknowledged that everyone's quality is determined by the quality of his understanding and will. And it can also be known that his earthly body has been formed to serve the understanding and the will in the world, and to perform uses in conformity with them in the ultimate sphere of nature. For this reason, the body does nothing of itself, but is actuated always in complete subservience to the bidding of the understanding and will, even to the extent that whatever a man thinks, he speaks with his tongue and mouth, and whatever he wills, he does with his body and limbs, so that the understanding and the will are what act, while the body itself does nothing. Evidently, then, the things of the understanding and will are what make man, and as these act into the minutest particulars of the body, as what is internal into what is external, they must be in the same form, and on this account man is called an internal and spiritual man. Heaven is such a man in the greatest and most perfect form. Such being the idea of angels about man, they never pay any attention to what a man does with his body, but they are concerned with the will from which the body acts. This they call the man himself, and the understanding they call the man so far as it acts as one with the will. The angels, it is true, do not see heaven in its whole complex in such a form, for the whole heaven does not come within the view of any angel. But now and then they see, as a one in such a form, remote societies consisting of many thousands of angels. And from a society as from a part, they draw their conclusion as to the whole community which heaven is. For in the most perfect forms, the general things are conditioned like the parts, and the parts like the general things, with simply such a difference as there is between a large and small edition of the same thing. Hence the angels say that because the divine sees all things from what is inmost and highest, so in the Lord's sight the whole heaven is such a form. Such being the form of heaven, it is ruled by the Lord as one man, thus as a unit. For although man, as is well known, consists of an innumerable variety of things, not only as a whole but also in each part, as a whole of members, organs and viscera, and in each part of series of fibres, nerves and blood vessels, thus of members within members and of parts within parts, yet the man, when he acts, does so as a one. Such then is heaven under the oversight and leadership of the Lord. So many different things act as one in a man, because there is nothing whatever in him which does not contribute something to the general welfare and perform a use. The general performs a use for its parts, and the parts for the general. For the general is composed of the parts, and the parts make up the general. Therefore they provide for one another, have regard to one another, and are conjoined in such a form that each single thing and all things have reference to the general and its good. So it comes about that they act as one. In the heavens there are the same sort of consociations. Those there are conjoined in a like form in accordance with uses. Consequently, those who do not perform a use for the community are cast out of heaven because they are heterogeneous. To perform use is to will well to others for the sake of the common good, and not to perform use is to will well to others not for the sake of the common good, but for the sake of self. The latter are those who love themselves above all things, while the former are those who love the Lord above all things. Thus it is that those who are in heaven act as a one. This, however, they do not from themselves, but from the Lord, for they look to him as the one and only source of all things, and to his kingdom as the community whose welfare is to be considered. This is what is meant by the Lord's words, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his justice, and all things shall be added unto you." To seek his justice is to seek his good. Those who in the world love their country's good more than their own, and their neighbour's good as their own, are those who in the other life love and seek the Lord's kingdom. For there the Lord's kingdom takes the place of their country. Also those who love to do good to others, not for the sake of self, but for the sake of good, love the neighbour. For in heaven, good is the neighbour. All such are in the grand man, that is, in heaven. Since the whole heaven resembles one man, and is a divine spiritual man in the greatest form in its very likeness, so heaven, like a man, is arranged into members and parts which are similarly named. Moreover, angels know in what member this or that society is. This society, they say, is in the head or a certain province of the head, another in the breast or a certain province of the breast, that in the loins or a certain province of the loins, and so forth. In general, the highest or third heaven forms the head down to the neck. The middle or second heaven forms the breast down to the loins and knees. The lowest or first heaven forms the feet down to the soles, and also the arms down to the fingers, for the arms and hands are the ultimates of a man, although at the sides. This again makes it evident why there are 3 heavens. The spirits who are beneath heaven are greatly astonished when they hear and see that heaven is not only above but below, for they have the same idea and belief as men have in the world, that heaven is above only. For they do not know that the position of the heavens is like that of the members, organs, and viscera in man, some of which are above and some below, or like the positions of the parts in any one of the members, organs, and viscera, some of which are within and some without. Hence they have confused notions about heaven. These things about heaven being the grand man have been set forth because without that knowledge in advance, the things about heaven which follow cannot be at all comprehended. Nor without it can one have any clear idea about the form of heaven, the conjunction of the Lord with heaven, the conjunction of heaven with man, the influx of the spiritual world into the natural, or indeed any idea at all about correspondence, subjects to be treated of in order in what now follows. The above has therefore been premised to throw some light on these subjects.